One of the things that President Trump said in his press conference after we all woke up and found that he had gone to war and gotten out of war before we even woke up, he mentioned that when the planes, the 150 planes, were in the air, he's like, yeah, we did a little something that we have the capacity to do, and it was very dark in Venezuela. All the lights were off, and I was like, whoa. Give me a little more detail about that, because that seems to me like I knew that U.S. Cyber Command was very powerful. I think like cyber warfare to me, or at least this is the way I think about it, is kind of like submarine warfare. Like you don't see it and you don't hear it, and so you forget that it exists, and it's like raging under the sea.
Yeah, this is something that military analysts have been looking at for quite a long time, especially people like me that don't have the access that we used to, but we're looking at where things were going, the trajectory at the time, and where things are going now. But first strike weapons, I mean, they used to say, in like a large war, like nuclear weapons between great powers would be the first strike weapons. The Air Force, in smaller regional wars, not involving nuclear weapons. The Air Force is like the first strike weapons or Tomahawk missiles, something like that. Well, the battles of the future are going to be cyber weapons, cyber warfare, absolutely. And, a huge cat was let out of the bag between, I think it was during the Obama administration, actually started under the Bush administration, but then was actually executed under the Obama administration, was a cyber weapon called Stuxnet against Iran. And that was like kind of the first time that we proved that you can cause physical damage basically by pushing the enter key from somebody in Virginia in another country. And it was a huge, I guess, watershed moment for the entire world. Well, we haven't heard, every country has kind of kept that under wraps. Well, I believe another watershed moment just now happened because, I mean, the president mentioned Space Command. He mentioned Cyber Command. Chairman of Joint Chiefs mentioned the same. They were trying to kind of hint towards that. And I think that was a direct, just like you said, deliberate. I think it was a threat to the rest of the world that, yes, we have this capability. We can completely shut your country down before we go over there. Air defense doesn't really matter because we'll just shut it down and then fly in anyway. And by the way, the entire air defense system of Venezuela was mostly Chinese radars. It was supposed to be the hardest military target to hit in Latin America because of their relationship with the Chinese. But not only their relationship with the Chinese because of those radars, but also the Russians. The Russians supplied the missiles, the S-300 missile system to shoot down American planes if they ever went in. Also, that's the SC-300 is not their top system, but it's one of their big systems. Now it looks like all those systems, foreign bought by our enemies, were all purchased off of Temu. That's what it looks like. That's what we did to them.